I hope I'm getting the timeline right here.
Who cares?
Yeah, I guess who cares?
We are the only ones who have ever seen this movie.
That's a good point.
You and me and like 6 other people.
Welcome back, citizens of De Niro Nation, to Our Hero De Niro, the only podcast that's watching and recapping Robert De Niro's entire filmography in random order. I'm Mike, and with me as always is my co-host, Mike.
No relation.
And today we're watching the 2022 mystery comedy thriller Amsterdam, written and directed by David O. Russell. Mike, we were hoping to roll another David O. Russell film, Silver Linings Playbook. It's become kind of a running joke in this podcast because, well, for what it's worth, I won't speak for you, but I don't really like David O. Russell's films. And I feel good saying that because I hear he's a real piece of shit in real life too. So I don't know. I'm okay with putting this guy on blast.
He seems like a mean guy. Yeah, he seems like a mean guy. The truth is, I don't really like David O. Russell's films either. We've talked about this because this is our
second after Joy.
This is our second David O. Russell episode, right? Joy is the only other one we've watched. Yeah. You know, I said this in the Joy episode. I identify as somebody who likes David Russell because I love I Heart Huckabees so much, but I've never really liked another film of his I've watched. So, and not talking about this one. I'm not giving a spoiler about whether I liked this film, but I'd also seen Joy prior to watching it for the podcast, American Hustle and The Silver Linings Playbook, none of which I thought were particularly good. So I don't think I do like David O. Russell. No.
Yeah, I was looking at his filmography and I haven't seen The Fighter. So I want to give that a shot. I want to give it a fair shake. But I was looking at his filmography and I thought to myself, wow, the last film of his that I liked was I Heart Huckabees, and that came out 22 years ago. So it's truly, it's that phrase, what have you done for me lately? And the answer in David O. Russell's case is not much.
I hear he was really mean to Lily Tomlin during the I Heart Huckabees production.
Yeah, apparently he was also a nightmare on the set of Three Kings. There are a lot of stories of his on-set behavior, which is weird because his movies are so twee and whimsical. Where's that darkness coming from, David O. Russell?
Well, I mean, I think he just doesn't show the darkness in the films. I mean, I think the darkness is who he really is, right? I think you'd say, where's that darkness coming from if somebody with my general habits made the Saw movies. I think you'd say, like, where's that darkness coming from? Like, you don't seem like the kind of guy who would make the Saw movies.
Just making some real fucked up shit. Well, this film, it has an ensemble cast, stars Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk all about the stars, the cameos in this film. And it's based on the business plot, which, did you know anything about the business plot?
Nope, but you better believe I read about it a little bit to be ready for this conversation. So I'd never heard of it before I watched the film.
Neither had I. I looked up a little bit of information about it. It sounds interesting, potentially more interesting than this film.
I was laughing this morning. I thought about sending this to you when I was looking at it, but I decided I would save it for right now. But I was looking at the Wikipedia article about the business plot, and it made me decide to look at a graph of inflation. Because it mentioned that one of the fears, obviously, that these folks had was about the inflationary dimension of a non-gold-backed currency. And it's just really funny that inflation has kind of been slower in the decades since we eliminated the gold standard. They're like actually directionally incorrect based on the data.
You can't win them all. Yeah,
I was like, was that true? Like, I was thinking, because inflation does feel. It's like it's been high, in our lives. Like, money is worth a lot less now than it was when you and me were kids. But like, turns out it actually was higher when it wasn't fiat currency.
It's interesting. The business plot, for those who don't know, was an alleged 1933 to 34 conspiracy where wealthy business leaders attempted to recruit a retired Marine general to overthrow President Franklin D. Roosevelt and install a fascist-leaning government. But there's some controversy over it. Some historians view it as a serious threat, while others see it as exaggerated or poorly organized. And the film version, it's very dramatized in Amsterdam, so it's heightened and simplified for narrative clarity, which, does that work to the film's benefit or detriment? There's only one way to find out, and that's for us to get into this movie. But this was David O. Russell's first film since Joy, which we previously covered on the podcast. Go check that episode out. And Amsterdam received generally negative reviews from critics. It was also a box office bomb with estimated losses for the studio of over $100 million. So money well spent.
That's a lot of money. A lot of money to lose.
I find Hollywood to be such a fascinating business because you can have a director like David O. Russell who makes a couple of big flops in a row like that, but is still able to find financing for new films. Like he's making a John Madden biopic starring Nicolas Cage. Who's giving him the money for this shit? Maybe that one will actually make money because people like John Madden and no one fucking knows what the business plot was. But
I added it to my watch list last night when I read that he was making that film. I'll see it.
I like John Madden. I like those video games.
You kidding me? Madden 95? That's my favorite video game of all time.
Oh, God. Well, should we get right into our discussion of Amsterdam?
Yeah, man. Let's do it.
Let me tell you, but this is my recap this week, and I was barely lucid when I watched this film, so I hope the recap makes sense. Here's the thing. I've been waking up earlier this semester because one of my classes starts earlier than I'm used to. So I've been pushing myself to wake up around 6:40 in the morning, which is early for me. I'd wake up closer to like 7:15, 7:30, which is fine. I can do that. But the last few days, my body woke me up way earlier ahead of my alarm. So I was waking up closer to 6 a.m., which was totally just wreaking havoc on my body. So when I watched this movie a couple of days ago, I thought I was getting sick. Like I felt very achy, very sore. And I thought, well, if this is going to get worse over the next couple of days, then I should sit down. I need to watch Amsterdam right now. Oh yeah, that'll cure what ails me, but I need to take notes on that right now. Turns out I wasn't sick at all. I just needed a good night's sleep. So I feel totally fine now. But I did go through, I tried to make sense of my notes. I hope it makes sense. I hope it's a brief recap. Let's get into it.
I really hope so too. On both accounts. The clock starts now.
You're David O. Russell's biggest fan, man. You love I Heart Huckabees. Got that shit, really Criterion Collection Blu-ray.
Is I Heart Huckabees in the Criterion Collection?
I have no idea, man. We won't know until we're invited to the Criterion Closet, a little Our Hero De Niro episode. oh my God, I Heart Huckabees.
Oh my God, Joy by David O. Russell? That's my favorite Robert De Niro film.
Oh, Jesus Christ. We start out in 1933, New York City, and we get a lot of narration from Christian Bale, who plays Dr. Bert Berenson. He's a prosthetics doctor with a heavy accent, cartoonish, I would say.
Yeah, it sounds like he's doing an Adam Sandler impression.
Well, his character's...
That's all I could think of for the entire film.
Yeah, his character's half Christian, half Jewish, so maybe that's why he's doing that. He's from Elmira in the film, which I thought was interesting. Yep. That's about an hour south from where we are. You think people from Elmira really had that accent? Oh yeah, beautiful country down there.
I don't know. I don't know much about it, honestly. I've only been once or twice.
Yeah. His back is fucked up. He wears a back brace and he's addicted to pain pills and morphine. That good stuff.
Oh yeah.
So he meets his old war buddy, Harold Woodman, who's a lawyer played by John David Washington, notable for being the protagonist in Tenet, which we previously covered in episode 40 of Our Hero De Niro. And I'm going to have a lot to say about the performances in this film.
Yeah.
But John David Washington, Woodman, he wants Bert to perform a discreet, unofficial medical job. Taylor Swift walks over. This is one of many, I don't even know, I guess you just call them cameos, because there are so many stars in this film who show up for about 2 minutes.
Right, 5 minutes.
Just, exactly. They're just in and out of the film.
Taylor Swift has about 6 minutes of screen time in this film.
Yeah, what did you think of her in this film?
Not bad. Honestly, I didn't think she was bad. Yeah. I thought that it was funny just to see her in this context, and so it was hard for me to take it seriously. But if I divorce that reaction that I had from it, I thought she did a perfectly fine job for someone who's not like a professional actress. Yeah,
I thought she was fine, but it was so distracting.
Not good. Not a good
in the first 5 minutes of your movie going, Taylor Swift?
Is that Taylor Swift? Like what? From the music?
Shout out to the Swifties. Y'all got to listen to some more music. There's a whole fucking world of artistic expression out there. You can expand beyond the scope of the most popular musician in the world. I know that I'm often raised for my hipster sensibilities or whatever, but I don't take umbrage with anyone who's into pop music, whatever, or who's into like Taylor Swift or Beyonce, whatever, that sort of stuff. But like, if your favorite artist or like the only artist you listen to is a pop star, I think that shit is that's real loser behavior. You know, it's just
Yeah, I don't know.
this incredible art form that has spanned the length of recorded human history. And that's as like deep as you're digging. It's like digging for dinosaurs with a plastic spoon. You're just like, you're not getting very far.
Some people just don't really like music, you know? Those people aren't for me.
Right.
But,
well, I don't know. You married one of them. Shout out to wife of the pod, friend of the pod, Caroline. She's not into music, but at least her favorite artist is.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Listen, I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. At least her favorite artist isn't Olivia Rodrigo or Taylor Swift or Selena Gomez. It's Rob Zombie and Rammstein. But I respect that there's a diversity of thought there. Although I would certainly never let her control the aux at a party.
No, she wants to listen to Rammstein and happy hardcore trance music.
God, I dated a Swiftie once. You remember her? You remember?
Oh yeah, of course. You kidding me? Yeah.
And that was
I remember every woman you've dated.
How do you really? I don't even remember everyone that I've dated. Respect, man. Yep. You should help me go through sometime, just like I'm your old demented grandfather, and just help me reminisce about all the surprisingly attractive women that I've gone on dates with over the years. Just oh yeah, you really fucked this one up. Oh yeah, thank you, my son. I mean, she was interesting because she was a Swiftie, but she was older than me. She was like 38 years old. What business do you have being a 38-year-old? That's crazy, man. Listen to some more music.
I know a lot of people in their 40s and 50s who really like Taylor Swift.
You ever, we've
talked about this before. It's like when you were growing up, your parents listened to top 40 music. Your parents are those people. You were raised by that kind of person. Like they like a different genre of like popular music, but like, I don't know, like 50% of the population just listens to like whatever's in the Billboard Hot 100. That's what people are listening to. I
am inarguably cooler than 50% of the population.
Yeah, man. Listen. I got my issues with you. I definitely think you're cooler than 50% of the population, man. That's a pretty low bar.
Yeah, that's I'm definitely ahead of the curve in that respect.
It's like 15% of the population are like fucking babies, and like 20% of the population are like over the age of 76.
When I think of all of the asinine reasons why I've stopped seeing women early on, especially in my like early to mid 20s, I remember this one woman, speaking of music. We were talking a lot about music, and we decided to make each other playlists, which I thought was nice exercise.
That's a dangerous thing, though. Yep.
Oh, it's a dangerous. Sometimes it works really. I like hearing new music. If any citizen of the Nero Nation. This is my rule. If you
like us a mixtape,
you send me any song on Spotify, and I will listen to it in its entirety as long as it is less than 7 minutes long. I have to specify that because every song Philip listens to is like 12 minutes long. But this woman and I, we exchanged.
So you only listen to the first 7 minutes of them when he sends you a 12-minute song?
Unless I'm like vibing to it, unless I'm really vibing. If it's like a funky kind of song, then I'll do it. But if it's like a jam band thing or some like boring ass thing, then I'll give it a good shot. But I'm stopping that shit. But this woman and I,
jam bands, you've been put on notice by Mike back at you.
Oh Jesus, yep. I can't do that shit. I'm not a big enough stoner for that crap. But this woman and I exchanged mixes, and of course I listened to her mix in its entirety because I'm just a good person in that kind of way. Plus I like hearing new things, so I was like, give it to me, and I made her a mix, and she told me, I asked for her thoughts on it, and there were a few electronic songs on there. This was like probably like 2015ish. And electronic songs, there's always the build up. The first minute's always build up.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh, I liked it, but I skipped like half the songs after a minute. And I was so disgusted by that response. Yeah,
that's horrible.
Oh, it was like a catastrophic failure. It was like at that point, I think I stopped talking to her that day. I think I was just like, well, we're just simply two different people to be able to make this work. There's no way. It's like your total incuriosity is a huge turnoff to me, and therefore I shan't be continuing this conversation. Anyways, back to this movie. Taylor Swift plays the daughter of Bill Meekins, a retired general/industrialist who died under suspicious circumstances. So she wants an autopsy to be conducted because she believes he was actually murdered. And they only have 2 hours to perform the autopsy and report back to her at a restaurant. And we got another cameo here. Chris Rock briefly shows up as a coroner contact.
No, Chris Rock is a pretty major character. Doesn't show up briefly.
he has probably 5 minutes in the whole film.
No, Chris Rock's got at least 12 or 13 minutes of screen time. He's around at the end of the story. He pops up constantly throughout the movie.
He's peppered. It's a very minor role.
It's not a cameo. He's like a pretty major character.
Okay.
He's a much more major character than
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift.
Well, we'll get into that momentarily. So it's autopsy time, and we get another A-list Hollywood actress, Zoe Saldana, formerly known as Zoe Saldana. She appears as Irma St. Clair, who she plays a Portuguese woman, and she's kind of doing an accent, but about 10% of the time. What are you shaking your head for?
She's faking it. She's not really Portuguese.
Oh, she is?
There's a throwaway line in the scene. One racist character says something about how they don't like that John David Washington's character is a practicing attorney, I think, because he's black. And then somebody says something like, what about Irma? And the person says, oh, she's Portuguese. And then when she walks out, either Christian Bale or John David Washington says, you're Portuguese? Because she's like, Zoe Saldana, she's obviously black, and she goes, no, not really.
Oh,
she's just lying so she can occupy parts of the world that like black people aren't welcome in.
Gotcha. What a rich tapestry.
It's just part of this film's biting satire.
Yeah, it's like how I was talking recently to a couple of my classmates about how, because I'm half Puerto Rican, how culturally, for whatever reason, some Puerto Ricans are allowed to say the N-word and others aren't. And
interesting.
Well, listen, I'm obviously one of the ones that is not allowed to say the N-word, but
one of the most obvious things ever, considering that you sent a woman a playlist that had enough electronic songs with long buildups that she skipped half of them.
Yeah, if I say the N-word, it would sound like it would be a hate crime. I couldn't do that. But no, like I think depending on like cultural context and where like you grow up, like some Puerto Ricans can say it. So whatever, good for them. I wish them all the best. So they conduct the autopsy.
Saying I wish them all the best to somebody because they're part of a subgroup that can say a racial slur is very funny.
Listen, I
wish them all the best.
I listen to hip hop music and I listen to rap, and it'd be nice to be able to say that when I'm like, rapping along to the tunes in my car. I don't. I self-censor.
Yeah.
I respect.
I would never say it. I agree.
No.
Yeah. It's easy not to. As well. Is what I will say.
I agree. And yet now I'm reminded of that one time one of our friends did say the N-word in a road rage incident.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Many years ago. I mean,
it's like I experience road rage. I never get angrier in my life than I do when I'm on the road. But when a person has cut me off, I've never called them a racial slur. They're just like it's not something that occurs to me to say.
Yeah, I guess for a little bit of context here for the citizens of De Niro Nation, this is many years ago, and I don't begrudge the person for this. Just for context's sake, we were hanging out, me and him, one time, and he was telling me about how he had this commute on I would say an unpleasant Rochester area highway, 390. I don't like that highway. I don't like driving on it. And there was like a road rage incident where he was like cut off by some car. Almost got into an accident, like really dangerous stuff. And I guess he noticed that the person driving was a black woman. And in his road rage yelling, he yelled the N-word. And he told me this, just over a couple of beers or whatever. And he felt very bad about it. He felt guilty. Like he clearly he didn't mean it, but it's weird that it came up at all,
Yes. Because that means that it's down there.
Yeah, exactly. Because I also experience road rage sometimes, and I will curse people out, but I've never once commented on their skin color. I will often say bitch, but not in a gendered way. Yep. Not in a gendered way. I will never. Yes,
that's my thing that comes out, like something that I would never say in my normal life, except for when I'm experiencing road rage. You bitch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I never use that word except for satirically, usually talking about my man friends.
I only yell it when I don't know the gender of the driver. Like, oh, you dumb bitch. Oh, you stupid bitch. Why are you cutting me off right now? But why was I talking about that?
I don't remember.
We were
either. Talking about Puerto Ricans who can say the N-word and whether Zoe Saldana is incredibly Portuguese.
Yeah. So They're conducting this autopsy, and Bert notices that the dead man's stomach lining is an unusual color, which indicates poisoning and not death by natural causes. So they conclude that Meekins was actually murdered. Later that night, Bert and Woodman, Christian Bale and John David Washington, arrive at the restaurant, and Taylor Swift is not inside. She's outside of the restaurant, and she's visibly shaken. So she's walking away, like through the streets of nighttime New York City, and she's explaining something when Timothy Oliphant, looking the ugliest he's ever been made up to look, suddenly like comes up to her. There's like kind of a crowded situation on a sidewalk. And he like comes up to her and pushes her right in front of a moving truck, and she gets run over and killed by this truck. So in the kerfuffle,
I audibly gasped when this happened.
Oh, did you really? I thought it was pretty gnarly.
I was really surprised. I was like, yeah, that's some fucking wanton violence, like really early in the film. Like it's like, and it shows it. Like, it's not like gory, like her head doesn't like explode or anything, but it shows the car run over her head. And I was like, wow, that's pretty fucked up in this like kind of goofy twee David O. Russell film.
Yeah,
like,
surprisingly violent moment to jumpstart this twee movie. She got House of Cards. House of Cardsed. Remember when that show was good? You know, honestly, I'm surprised you haven't recommended House of Cards yet, considering how much you enjoy. You love recommending Kevin Spacey shit on this podcast. He's your favorite actor.
I'm going to recommend Baby Driver again today.
In the chaos that breaks out afterwards, Oliphant accuses John David Washington and Christian Bale of pushing her out in front of the car. So he pulls a gun. Bert and Woodman flee as cops arrive, and from this point on, they're suspects. So now we get a flashback to 1918, and we're in New York City, and we get a conversation between Bert and his father-in-law. Now, did anything stand out to you about the casting of his family members? His wife, mother-in-law, father-in-law?
No.
Bert's wife is played by Andrea Riseborough, who's a very talented British actress. She was one of the stars of 000, which is a limited series that you and I both really enjoyed.
It is really nice. Yeah.
But I don't give a shit about that. I'm really here to talk about Casey Biggs. So Casey Biggs plays Bert's father-in-law, and real ones out there in De Niro Nation will know that Casey Biggs is most notable for playing the character Damar on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So I fucking stood up and cheered when I saw him. I was like, holy shit, is that Casey Biggs? And here's the thing. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, not only, in my opinion, the best Star Trek show ever. I say that having only seen the first 4 seasons of Voyager, but I'm still working through that. I haven't seen Enterprise yet. Deep Space Nine fucking rules. It's the best Star Trek show ever. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. It made me cry like a fucking baby during the episode The Visitor, but it was so interesting because Damar, he starts out as a random, like, minor antagonist character, like background character. You just like see him in the background in the beginning of the 7-season-long series. But over time, he's gradually given more storylines, and his character really evolves into this deeply compromised moral figure who has to reckon with complicity under fascism. And I thought it was such an interesting, unexpected connection to Amsterdam, because his character's arc in Deep Space Nine is about living under authoritarianism, benefiting from it, and then realizing the cost. And it was just so funny because I spent the next few minutes thinking about how much better Deep Space Nine is than Amsterdam at actually interrogating fascism, occupation, and resistance in detail. It's so fucking funny. Like, it does it with more seriousness and emotional weight than the fucking movie that I'm obligated to watch for this goddamn podcast. But, you know, shout out to Star Trek Deep Space Nine.
Many things do and have.
Yes. So they have a conversation.
Are you going to recommend Star Trek Deep Space Nine today?
I would love nothing more, but no, I stick to the rules. I'm going to recommend a film later. And I think it's going to be one that you'll enjoy.
The rules every once in a while. I think you should. I imagine I can't remember exactly what he says, but imagine Bob Odenkirk's monologue to Chuck in like that great climax of their relationship where he tells him to get down in the mud with him. You know, get down in the mud with me, Chuck. Would you get down in the mud with me? Recommend like a 7-season Star Trek TV show today.
Yeah. How did things work out for Jimmy?
Well, I mean, Chuck fucking exploded in a conflagration, so that's what's going to happen to you. I mean, Jimmy just made a sad face and went to jail.
The most fascistic thing about me is how I run this podcast.
Fascistic.
Yeah. Is that the word?
Fascistic.
Fascistic?
Yes.
Is it really?
Yes.
I think they must have shortened it since the last time I used it. So Casey Biggs encourages Bert to enlist in World War I, which I think is fucking... I mean, he really doesn't seem to like Bert, but I think that's pretty funny to be like, hey, you should go join the deadliest war in human history.
Right. You should go fucking die. You're my daughter's husband.
Yeah. So Bert joins the war. He's in France in 1918. And he's badly injured in combat. So Ed Begley Jr. Is like some higher up in the army, and he puts Bert in charge of a black unit of American soldiers because no one else wants to lead them. And that's where Bert meets Chris Rock's character and John David Washington's character. And that's where Bert and Woodman become BFFs. We cut to, all the soldiers are injured after some sort of battle or skirmish or whatever. They're being rushed into this wartime hospital in France. And we get our first appearance of Hollywood darling Margot Robbie. She's Valerie Vose, a nurse who is just, operating calmly in this absolute chaos. Once everything's under control, she has her little meet cute with John David Washington's character, and they have an aside. They kind of like go have a drink off in private, and we get some narration from Robbie explaining their meet cute, and she explains that she's kind of has a little bit of that manic pixie dream girl energy, and she says that she keeps shrapnel she removes from soldiers' bodies, and Woodman asks why, which I think is a very salient question. And she's evasive. She says, oh, well, if you want to know that, then you have to trade me something for it. And they decide that, Bert comes in also, and they're all talking, and they decide to trade a song for that information. So we get a scene of them singing a song together, which I would have skipped if I wasn't watching this shit for the podcast. And they sing, and then she shows them the art she's made from shrapnel. And, Bert has lost his eye in this conflict, and she says that she knows someone in Amsterdam who can get Bert a really nice prosthetic eye.
I really like Margot Robbie's character in the film. Do you not like her character? Yeah.
I read before I watched this movie, I skimmed the Letterboxd top reviews, and one of them indicated that Margot Robbie seemed like she was like her stuff was in a better movie than the rest of the stuff occurring, and I don't agree with that. I thought her character was pretty thin.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
Yeah?
I think that her performance is really
her performance is
relative to the other performances too. Margot Robbie is an incredible actress. She's really, really good.
She's really good. Although I really liked Christian Bale.
Yeah, I liked his goofy Adam Sandler impression. Yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say it right now. I kind of liked this movie. Did you like this movie at all?
Wow.
Or did you just really hate it? I kind of liked this movie.
I'm going to reserve my final judgment for our final judgment section.
I don't think it's good.
There's
I'm not gonna defend it, but like I had a nice time. Like by the time I got like 45 or 50 minutes in, I was pretty locked in. I was like, this is fun. I'm having a nice time.
During our next annual The Roberts, is this gonna beat Goodfellas as best one we watched this year?
One of my vaunted 5.5 star films. I do think that Margot Robbie's character's arc has a profundity to it, and I think that this film, part of what I think makes it not very good as a film is how muddy its interrogation of fascism is, to your earlier comment about Star Trek. But I think that her arc as a commentary on fascism is a little bit more well done, I think, than the other characters' arcs. I do think that in a lot of ways she feels like she's in a better story than the rest of the characters.
Okay, interesting. I'll give that more thought as we gallivant through this recap. So they travel to Amsterdam. We have a little interlude there, and neither of us have been to Amsterdam before, but tell me your thoughts about Amsterdam. How do you feel about Amsterdam? Is that high really up on your travel list?
Right? Yeah, I really like water and rivers and riding a bicycle and walkable cities, and it seems like a really nice place. I'd love to go. What about you? I feel displaced. I feel like a refugee in my own country because so little in the United States is walkable. It's very distressing to me as a walkoid. I would love to go to Amsterdam. It's definitely high up in my travel list for 3 reasons. 1, recreational drug use. 2, recreational prostitution. 3, recreational bicycling.
I mean, you're hitting all the big ones right there. You kidding me? Sounds like a blast.
I'm more of a drivevoid myself personally.
you gotta import a Chevy Suburban to drive through the narrow streets of Amsterdam.
Yukon Denali.
I need this much space. You don't understand. I'm American.
I don't feel safe.
I have to be 40 inches off the ground, or I don't feel safe around other automobiles. But yeah, Amsterdam seems awesome, and I love walkable cities and all that shit. So sign me up is what I say. People, when I talk to people, like when I meet new people, and around here locally, and I mention that I walk daily or whatever, whatever comes up in icebreakers or shit in my MSW classes, whatever, and I'll say like, yeah, I walk like 6 miles a day. People are like impressed. I don't think it's that impressive. I don't think you should feel that impressed. I think you should walk more. That's my urgent message to the citizens of De Niro Nation. Yeah, I'm trying to make America walk again. Mawa. That's what we're saying. How do you feel about Mawa?
I think that you could be. I think it's nice. I think that you can probably walk an amount that. I think you can walk an amount that you would consider perfectly respectable and very healthy, and still think that walking 6 miles a day is impressive. That's a lot, man.
Get those steps in, people.
You're walking like 2,000 miles a year.
It soothes the soul. It's mellowing, and my calves are great.
Yeah, I have good calves too. I don't even walk that much. Yeah.
So Robbie, Washington, and Bale arrive at a prosthetic glass eye shop, and the proprietor of whom is Mike Myers, Austin Powers.
Oh, behave. Yeah. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Himself doing a full British accent. So they have him going in Glorious Bastards mode. And how'd you feel about this?
I didn't really like it, honestly.
I didn't like it either. I didn't like it in Inglourious Bastards, and I liked it even less here in Amsterdam. Because now not only do I think it's a bad creative choice, but it's already been done.
Right.
So like,
it's
what?
I completely broke the immersion for me. Like probably more than any of the other cameos besides Taylor Swift.
What is the tone of this movie? This is one of my like major issues with this movie. What the fuck is up with the tonal inconsistencies here? Because it's this twee, friendship is magic ass indie sensibility fucking movie, but it's also about the imminent threat of fascism and its oppressive nature and all this stuff, and it just in this dark murder conspiracy plot. And it's just jumbling them. It's trying to juggle these two and just dropping the ball every single time that they're thrown up into the air.
Yeah, I think that those things do actually go very well together in the hands of a more competent creative team than this film had. I think that's a profound contrast that was not done very well in this film.
Wes Anderson could do it.
Yes.
David O. Russell can't do it. Yeah. No. Oh God! So and Mike Myers' associate is Michael Shannon, which is always a pleasure seeing him. We get a little on-screen text that says that Myers and Shannon are actually intelligence agents, and I don't know if there's anything else worth noting there. But narration from Bale explains that they stayed in Amsterdam together for a long time. The three of them lived together and had this like bohemian, idealized life that was all just partying and dancing and making art, whatever. But Bert misses his wife, Andrea Riseborough, back in New York City and wants to return.
Who can blame him? She seems so nice.
I know, right? She hates his fucking guts. So do her parents. And John David Washington and Margot Robbie don't want him to leave, but he eventually does anyways. Bert returns to New York City in the 1920s, and Casey Biggs, a.k.a. DeMar, is furious that Bert is using his clinic to treat disabled veterans. So Biggs I really fucked up stuff taking care of our nation's veterans. So Biggs blacklists him from his Park Avenue medicine clinic, and Bert ends up working. He is like practicing medicine in some dank back alley. He's addicted to pain medication, and he eventually gets arrested and sent to jail. John David Washington asks Margot Robbie to use her family connections for help. She's very reluctant because she had some falling out with her parents that she doesn't want to get into, but they have a heart-to-heart, and ultimately she leaves John David Washington a note, and she disappears. John David Washington Woodman returns to New York. Bert gets out of jail. It's implied thanks to Margot Robbie's, help assistance. And Bert and Woodman work together as friends, partners for roughly a decade. Back to 1933, back to where it all began. The investigation resumes. So Bert's wife invites him over for dinner and immediately regrets the decision. And she basically negs him while staring at his totally fucked up back. I mean, it got really messed up in the war.
Yeah,
it's
she
not
was
looking
like,
good.
ew, gross.
Yeah.
About
She's like,
her like husband's war wounds that he got while like saving lives and fighting fascism
he's a
overseas.
hero. It's just, oh, this is gross.
Like the guy, say what you will about this movie, but like the character of Bert is like, he's got to be like one of the most amazing people who's ever lived. Like if this person actually existed, and he's just constantly getting negged by his wife. And it's like, dude, this guy is awesome. And like, yeah, he's a little scarred, but he's Christian Bale.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, not only is he like just a really great guy, but he's also Hollywood hottie Christian Bale.
Yeah. They do a good job of aging him up between the like earlier flashback scenes and 1933. I really liked his character. I mean, yeah, it's a little too twee and quirky, but I don't know. He had personality. I thought Bale did a great job of bringing the character to life. Robbie was really good in her performance.
Yep.
I will say, I'm just going to say it. We talked about it during our Tenet episode. John David Washington does not have leading man chops.
He really doesn't. And I love the idea that this film was criticized for its lead's lack of chemistry, because I think that what it really comes down to is that John David Washington doesn't seem like somebody who really has chemistry.
Right.
With
It's
people.
it's a one directional problem.
Right. Like in Tenet, all of the chemistry between him and Robert Pattinson is coming from Robert Pattinson.
Right.
It's like Robert Pattinson's, lovelorn looks or whatever elevate how you feel about John David Washington. Like, it's like he's just not a man of charisma, unfortunately.
Right. And and we talked about it during the Tenet episode, that his lack of charisma in a roundabout way, I think works as a strength in that movie and that movie only. I like the protagonist as this wooden blank slate character who's just very stoic and committed to his mission and just sort of like learning, just taking in new information, because he's the, the audience self-insert. And Robert Pattinson, hyper charismatic, just in the direction of John David Washington. And that's what makes their bromance work so well.
Puts a glow on him. Like,
Yep. But it doesn't work here because he's supposed to have that romantic spark. And with Margot Robbie, it's supposed to go in both directions, and he's just as wooden as he was in Tenet. It's so funny. It just doesn't work at all.
He's not good in the film. Yeah, his performance is definitely the weak point among the three leads.
John David Washington arrives at Bert's wife's house with Taylor Swift's purse, and the two of them ask the wife for help. At this time, two detectives knock on the door, and they interrogate Bert and Woodman about Taylor Swift's death. Bert explains the whole situation that they've gotten caught up in, and the detectives know Bert because he hooks them up with illegal drugs. They give Bert a few days to try to clear this up, but they say, like, we can only give you a few days, and after that, we're going to arrest you. And then later on, they're like walking outside, and Timothy Oliphant drives by with some other goons and like points a gun at them just to intimidate them.
He had his vibe in this film reminded me of the portion of Great Expectations where Ethan Hawke is wearing the Simple Jack wig. He doesn't really look like him, but it gave me the same feeling. Like, it's the same way I felt when I was watching the Simple Jack scene of Great Expectations. It's pretty funny.
He's made up to look like a McPoyle from It's Always Sunny.
Yes, that's a much better description. That's really, really good.
I didn't, because you're right, because I had the Simple Jack thought during the movie, but you saying that just made me realize, oh, he's going McPoyle mode.
It's really good.
That's got to be really fun though, if you're like famously attractive,
just famously handsome man, like just to ugly yourself up.
Right. I'm gonna do a movie where I just get to play a really ugly goon. That's got to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, he's never been ugly before in his life. Like, just kind of see how the other half lives.
Yeah, exactly. Now we go to the Vose mansion. Bert and Woodman, they manage to sneak their way into the Vose mansion using a lie. And Anya Taylor-Joy appears. She says that Mr. Vose is indisposed. And while they're having a conversation, Margot Robbie unexpectedly walks out.
Wow, what a coincidence.
I know, right?
I thought as I watched this scene.
Sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. Yeah, it's strained credulity.
Feels a little contrived, like a little rough. Yep.
So Anya Taylor-Joy has like a back and forth with Robbie. They don't like each other, and Taylor-Joy says that, Robbie has a nervous disorder and that she shouldn't be talking. It seems like she's kind of like stuck living on the mansion grounds and can't really leave to do anything. So Robbie scares Anya Taylor-Joy off, and she has a brief conversation with her friends, and goons arrive and knock Bert out. So we're introduced to Rami Malek, a.k.a. Mr. Robot himself. There's another. Can we just recommend you watch TV shows instead of this movie? Watch Mr. Robot. Listen, Mr. Robot rules.
Talking about like TV shows, right? I've made this comment on the podcast before about those shows that are really good. Like I want you to watch The Pit, which is one of those shows. It's in that same category. Mr. Robot, you could just sit down and watch all 50 hours of it, and it's better than 90% of the movies you'd watch for this podcast. It's a big commitment.
Yeah.
From a time perspective, but Sam Esmail is a more competent artist than most of the people involved with most of the movies you've watched for this podcast. Agree or disagree?
I agree. Yeah, honestly.
So there you go. Yep.
Yeah, season 3 of Mr. Robot is up there. It's in the pantheon of great television seasons. It's so fucking good.
Is that the one that Bobby Cannavale is in when he first appears?
No way I remember that, man. I only watched it once, and that was like 5 years ago. So
that's a really nice show.
Yeah. It's a great chance for me to do my impression of Mr. Robot.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I am Mr. Robot. It's Rami Malek's catchphrase.
It's only funny if you've seen the show.
It's only, that's real inside baseball. That's one of mine and Mike's inside jokes from 5 years ago.
Said.
Yeah. Oh, God. So he's introduced. He has a mustache. He's Mr. Vose or whatever. And he wants to help the gang out. So he says there's this general, Gil Dillenbeck, and he can identify who is traveling with Bill Meekins.
I didn't know, by the way, that this was going to be Robert De Niro's character.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen I didn't look at the cast or anything before I watched it. But as soon as they said that name, I was like, oh, this is definitely going to be De Niro's character. Like, it's about time for him to show up for his contractually obligated 8 minutes and 20 seconds of screen time in this film.
I think, it made sense because General, he's the right age. Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So we see a newsreel of General Dillenbeck, and that's where we finally get our De Niro face reveal at 56 minutes and 26 seconds into the film. And after the newsreel, Margot Robbie briefly reconnects with John David Washington.
And the sparks fly.
Oh, yeah, right. And the MTV Movie Award for Best On-Screen Chemistry goes to... the cops are still circling Bert and Woodman. Bert learns that Dillenbeck initially is not interested in meeting them, even though they had met briefly prior, like once during the war, but Dillenbeck, for whatever reason, is not interested in connecting with them. Robbie takes them back to Mike Myers' prosthetic shop, where Michael Shannon's also present, and I don't know, the details are murky here because I was barely lucid, but Woodman and Vose, John David Washington and Robbie, they talk about... something about like they had some trip to some forced sterilization clinic or something that they realize is connected to this whole conspiracy plot. It's like Nazi affiliated in some way. Like Oliphant's character was there. There's like eugenics vibes.
The details of this.
Yeah,
but that is what it's about. Like that's going to become a central conceit of the second half of the film. Is there's these forced sterilization clinics that are mirroring what Nazi Germany are setting up at this point.
Yes. And at this point, Margot Robbie begins questioning whether her mental illness diagnosis and medication are legitimate.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Seems awfully convenient.
So the gang arrives at General Dillenbeck's house, and his wife lets them in. There's some mysterious white guy with a briefcase just kind of waiting in the foyer of their house, so like kind of right in by the front door. And Dillenbeck invites them.
How old that character was supposed to be?
He looked probably 40. Yeah.
They'll say it in the narration later.
Oh, they do?
He was supposed to be 37 years old.
Oh.
It's like, man, that guy's a rough 37. He looks like he's 50.
I thought he looked 40 based on my 2-day-old memory.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought he was 45 to 50.
How old do you think we look? Because you're 38, I'm 36.
My hair is really white.
Yeah.
But I think if it weren't for my white hair, I think my skin looks really good.
Skin's good.
I think I look a few years younger than I am.
Yeah.
I think you look a few years younger than you are, maybe early 30s. But my hair is so white at this point. Like, I feel like that's aging me up. It makes me look like 45.
Well, I don't think, I think it makes you look like your age, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's pretty white.
Yeah, it's getting there. I mean, it's exciting because the countdown timer. By the time you're 40, it's going to be fully white. It's going to be
it's noticeably whiter than it was 1 year ago.
Mike the Fab the White.
The change is very
ascending.
noticeable.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
My dad
cool.
started dying when it happened to him. I will never die. Not dying, like not becoming deceased. Dying his hair. Yeah. My
Just
dad
for
is
men.
still alive and well. Yep. My dad started dyeing his hair when it happened to him. I don't think I'll dye my hair. I don't plan to.
What color did he dye it?
His natural hair color. Like a kind of, it's sort of similar to my hair before it started whiting, but a little darker, closer to your hair color.
That's
I think.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be fun if you just dyed it like platinum blonde or something. just went crazy with it.
No, I'm gonna dye it like fucking like a blue, like iridescent kind of color.
Oh yeah, bipolar blue. I think that's what they call it.
Yep.
So they go upstairs into General Dylan Beck's office, and Dylan Beck demands proof that they've met before. He makes them sing a song that they sang when they met during World War I. So we get another little song, which I would have loved to have skipped.
I liked the songs.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I think it's nice.
That's because you're a David O. Russell fan. The thing you like the most about David O. Russell is his on-set conduct.
It's inspiring to me.
I mean, yeah. Listen, it's very unfortunate that we stopped recording our The War with Grandpa episode before you laid into me for how annoyed I made you complaining about the format of that episode. I really
wish we had been still recording. That's true. It would have been good to have a recording of that. But wouldn't you know, to our discussion that we had in the Heat episode a few weeks ago, I felt guilty about that like 20 minutes after the conversation. As I said, and when you asked me that hot question, I feel guilty. Within 30 minutes of getting angry, 99% of the time I get angry. I'm like, well, I could have been a little bit calmer. Like, I didn't need to get so mad. I really flew off the handle. But I think that speaks to my psyche because I didn't even really get that angry. I just gave you like a stern talking to.
A stern talking to. Citizens, weigh in. Who was right in the War with Grandpa debate about the format of that episode? Let us know at ourherodeniro@gmail.com. The answer was me, by the way. I don't actually need you to write in. De Niro explains that Bill Meekins, Taylor Swift's dad, was killed for discovering something disturbing. And he says that the guy downstairs, the rough 40, he's been trying to, he comes over every month to try and bribe De Niro so that his organization can like use him for a speech, but he doesn't have specifics about who the organization is or anything like that.
Or what the speech is.
Yes. So Bert suggests letting the speech happen, taking the money, letting the speech happen to flush out the killers. De Niro, Dylan Beck agrees to this and says, yeah, whoever pays the most is likely responsible for these murders. Now it's time for the big climax of the film, which is happening at this gala. It's gala, right? It's not gala. It's gala, right?
I've heard it both ways.
Jesus Christ. So now it's time for the big climax, which is occurring at this gala for, I don't know, veterans or some shit. Who fucking cares? Rami Malek
for veterans.
Oh, perfect. I love our veterans. Rami Malek and Anya Taylor-Joy, they are guests at the gala, and they meet Dylan Beck. They meet the gang again. And Malek proposes broadcasting the speech nationally on the radio to maximize its influence. The gala begins. Bert's wife and in-laws are present. So all the characters are here. Everything's coming together. And, I noted here that the cinematography became extra annoying. So I think this is a great point to stop and talk about the film's cinematography and its orchestral score. The cinematography here, I don't know if you noticed when you were conducting research for this film, it was done by Emmanuel Lubezki, notable for also doing cinematography in the 1998 film Great Expectations, also covered on this podcast. What'd you think of it in this film?
I really liked the cinematography.
Oh, did you really?
Yep. And I'll tell you right now that I also really loved the score.
Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Well... Shit. Okay.
I was like, oh, this sounds like slightly elevated, like John Bryan. And then I looked afterward and I was like, get the fuck out of here. Daniel Pemberton. No wonder I liked it.
I like some of Daniel Pemberton's stuff. I did not like it here. And the way that I would describe the orchestral score in this film is documentary music. That's it.
That's not the way I felt about it.
That's all you got to say. Yep. It's like whimsical, jazzy music. It's trying to be period evocative, but it leans playful even during the heavier moments. Again, that tonal mismatch.
That's just David O. Russell, man.
David O. Russell and I have some fucking problems, and I'm not afraid to say that. David O. Russell, please be a guest on this podcast.
He would fucking tear you a new one if you were on his set.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Listen, if I'm willing to let him verbally humiliate me on set if he's willing to give me a speaking role in one of his shitty films. How about that?
Kidding me? I'm willing to let him verbally berate me in any context if he's willing to just even come on the podcast for free.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, that'd be
David
the best.
O. Russell, if you come on the podcast, you can say anything to me that you want.
David O. Russell and I yelling at each other for 45 minutes would be like the best episode of this podcast to ever exist. Well, what'd you think of the cinematography then? Because you say you liked it.
I liked it. I thought it was nice. Yeah.
I did not. I didn't like it, but it was probably one of the film's strong points.
Yeah.
Lebesky focuses, he leans on soft natural lighting, warm color palettes, and frequent shallow focus.
I love the shallow focus.
Yeah, really aiming for intimacy over spectacle. So it's creating this sort of organic lived-in imagery, but I didn't love the shallow depth of focus. There's frequent handheld shots and gentle push-ins and kind of Dutch angles, and it really wore on me as the movie went on. I found it distracting in a way that was unappealing.
I don't get distracted by things like that.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time you don't notice
them.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed re-listening to old episodes of the podcast that you will go an entire recap without ever commenting on the look or sound of a movie, which I feel like are two very important components of a movie.
It's just a little glimpse into the mind of Mencia. You know?
Yeah, the blank mind.
What do you think Carlos Mencia thinks about cinematography and sound design?
Oh my God, get him on the pod. Let's find out. He's probably
Carlos
looking for
Mencia,
work.
you're welcome on the pod anytime.
Absolutely. Yep. I want to hear him say his famous catchphrase, DTD.
It's an incredible impression.
I'm allowed to say it because I'm also Hispanic.
Oh, so you are allowed to say that one. Okay, that's one you are allowed to say.
I can say DTD, yes.
But you can make fun of Carlos Mencia. Gotcha. Understand. Yes. Well, we'll make like a decision matrix.
Yes.
To help me understand like kind of what is your conversational latitude.
I think that's not the worst use of our time ever. So there's a backroom meeting before De Niro's speech. And De Niro Dylan Beck meets three industrialists, Jeffers, Nevins, and Bellport. And it is very strongly implied just through the way that they are presented to us that these are the bad guys in the film. They're the villains. And it's very funny because they have this chat, this like insidious, sinister kind of chat, and they all walk out afterwards, and the camera lingers on Margot Robbie, who's holding a film camera. She's been recording this meeting.
Oh my God, I know. I couldn't believe this.
Right, because it's 1933 and the camera is big. It's noticeable. She's just holding it by her side.
It's like this wouldn't be like that typical that someone would just be standing carrying a camera like that. Like it's kind of crazy technology to have at the time. Like, and just nobody says anything. Like nobody thinks that maybe she was recording.
Right. You
ostentatiously carrying the camera, pointing at this surreptitious thing that just happened.
It's so funny that's what this hinges on. Like you could do it nowadays because they have little buttonhole cameras you could use, but
yeah, I mean, you could do it nowadays because if you, made yourself look like enough of a fucking Poindexter, you could just put your phone with the camera pointing out in like the breast pocket of your shirt. And if you looked like enough of a Poindexter, they would just be like, oh, this guy's just a goofball who carries his shit in a weird way. And no one would think you were recording. You could get away with it now with a small phone.
So after this, Rami Malek and his wife, Anya Taylor-Joy, give Dylan Beck some deeply unsettling advice about how he should give the speech about Meekins. De Niro goes up there, Dylan Beck, and he gives the speech his way, says the truth about the plot, and shit goes down at this point. Margot Robbie and John David Washington see Timothy Olyphant like up above the stage, and he's getting
Liam McPoyle.
Yeah, exactly. He's getting ready to shoot Dylan Beck during the speech. A whole kerfuffle occurs. Oliphant shoots Bert, but fortunately the bullet is stopped by Bert's back brace. They get Oliphant and throw him down onto the stage. There's a big brawl. Rami Malek and Anya Taylor-Joy are exposed as, fascist conspirators. And it's pretty funny because they're being confronted, in the big climax of this movie, and they just confess to everything Scooby-Doo style, which I thought was very funny.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't know. Again, like I think if you're some sort of business magnate who's conducting a super secret conspiracy to overthrow the United States government, maybe you wouldn't
Something punishable by death, by the way.
Yeah, treason. Yeah, maybe you would wait for your lawyers to be present before you just confess to everything. But whatever, we have to wrap this up neatly with a bow.
Yep.
Margot Robbie fantasizes about shooting them both through the face, but it's a fake out. And Bale narrates the wrap up where he says that Margot Robbie and John David Washington's characters leave New York City to live together in Amsterdam, but he stays behind. And the movie ends. So that is Amsterdam. And it's time to bring it over to our final ratings. Mike, I cannot wait to hear what did you think of Amsterdam?
Yeah, I liked this movie. I don't think it's very good. But I definitely had a lot more fun watching it than I think I really have any David O. Russell film that I can think of other than I Heart Huckabees. I certainly liked it more than I like Joy. But it's deeply flawed. You know, John David Washington has absolutely no riz. He's like a uniquely rizless man for a relatively successful Hollywood actor. And the cameos are incredibly distracting. Seeing Taylor Swift in the first couple of minutes, I was like, oh, this is the kind of thing we're doing here. Because like I knew she was going to be in it, but I didn't think it would be like in the first 90 seconds of the film. And I think that, you know, it's trying to make a statement, right? About, we talked about this a little bit earlier, that I like, what's her character's name? Is her character's name Vanessa? Margot Robbie's character?
I think it's
the first name.
Veronica,
Vanessa, whatever, some V name that ends with an A. You know, I enjoy her arc because she is essentially like, through her art, she is creating this like this witnessing essentially of like what the dangers are of fascism and violence and the importance of memory. And this point she makes that like her art is important and it is beautiful to like highlight these things and like turn this this pain and violence into something beautiful, but it doesn't really commit to it. And it almost feels like she's making an observation that's kind of out of step with what the rest of the characters are doing. And there are so many tonal mismatches. It does not deftly walk the line between like the darkness of fascism and the kind of silly, whimsical tweeness of a David O. Russell film. And it just kind of comes off as sort of silly for the most part, even though I think that if you just described parts of it to someone, you could be like, oh, that seems kind of profound. Like it's kind of like a profound exploration of the contrast between like art and enjoying the simple pleasures of life and love and friendship and companionship against fascism. But, you know, I don't think David O. Russell is a particularly talented filmmaker. So this is the film that we got. But I really liked the score and I really liked the cinematography and I really liked most of the performances. So I think I'm going to give it 3 stars. A little better than Joy, but still really not very good in the grand scheme of things. What about you, Mike?
I think that the director Paul Schrader said it best, because he will, whenever he watches a movie, he'll make a Facebook post about it. And there's a really useful Letterboxd account that I follow that just posts those reviews to Letterboxd. So he said his entire review of Amsterdam was whimsy. There's no quality in art I dislike more. Case in point, Amsterdam. And I think he just nailed it. Like, I don't dislike whimsy all the time, but I dislike it here. And for me, the biggest problem is the tone. This is a movie about fascism, murder, political conspiracy, but it feels cutesy. There's never a real sense of danger. The deaths feel emotionally weightless. And I feel like the movie just constantly reassures the audience instead of unsettling them. The characters felt overwritten and emotionally exaggerated. Everyone feels like they're playing in a slightly different key. And to the point that you just made, John David Washington possesses none of his father's charisma. He can't anchor the film, even though he's supposed to be the like emotional, you know, anchor of the entire thing.
He's the steady one.
Yes. There's over-reliance on narration. I didn't like the documentary-like score of the film. I didn't love the cinematography. I really just... the thing is, I just don't like David O. Russell's sensibilities in general. I think he's overly indulgent, and that outweighs his strengths as a director, and I think that has worsened. I think that's been getting worse over time. I liked it more early in his career when he was doing films like Three Kings and I Heart Huckabees. Those weren't so over the top, but I feel like his directorial style has worsened, at least in my eyes. So I'm giving it a 2 out of 5. I liked it less than Joy. I would rather rewatch Joy before I rewatch this film. I found this plotting and overly twee in a way that really rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, there you go. I guess citizens of De Niro Nation, you'll have to watch the film and write into ourherodeniro@gmail.com and let us know which of us you agree with, Mike or me. Certainly not going to give it higher than 3 stars.
No,
so,
absolutely not.
Maybe you'll give it lower than 2. It's possible.
Yeah. Well, on that note, Mike, is there a film that you'd like to recommend in addition to or instead of Amsterdam?
Oh yeah, it's definitely instead of. I mean, you made a comment earlier, right? That Wes Anderson could tell this story, and Wes Anderson did tell this story. This is what the Grand Budapest Hotel is about, right? The Grand Budapest Hotel is a story done by Wes Anderson, a much more talented artist at doing things that have twee indie-ish sensibilities, but about the kind of quiet war between fascism and the like normal human connection that prevents fascism from being able to take root, right? It is estrangement from our fellow man that allows fascism to take hold. And I think that David O. Russell lacks focus in this film. He's not committed to the message. And I also think he lacks skill as an artist to be able to make something that's kind of twee and funny into something profound about one of the 5 most important topics you could make a story about. I rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel about 4 months ago for the first time since it was first out. And I recall being kind of lukewarm on it when I first saw it. And I wrote in my Letterboxd review that I must have been in a fugue state because I had a completely different emotional reaction to it this time. I found it incredibly moving. And I really thought that Wes Anderson had a lot of very profound things to say about fascism and the human condition that David O. Russell is not equipped as an artist to opine on in his artful manner. And so whether you like this film or not, I would strongly recommend you watch The Grand Budapest Hotel. It's Wes Anderson. Great, for sure.
That's a great recommendation. And it's a good reminder to me to rewatch that film because I have only seen it the one time when it was out in theaters. My recommendation this week is one that you've also seen previously. It is the 2007 Tony Gilroy film, Michael Clayton. Now, this is
wonderful film.
Oh, I mean, one of the fucking greats. It is for those who don't know, it is a legal thriller about institutional power rather than courtroom drama. In it, George Clooney plays a fixer at a powerful law firm whose job is to make problems disappear. And when a colleague uncovers the truth behind a massive corporate lawsuit, Clayton is forced to choose between protecting the system or exposing it. What I love about that, I mean, I love everything about this film. It's a 5-star film in my opinion. But I love that in this film, the conspiracy isn't flashy. It's legal, it's procedural, and it's efficient. So I think it works well as a counterpart to Amsterdam because Amsterdam is a movie that warns that fascism and corruption are homegrown. And Michael Clayton shows what that corruption looks like after it goes corporate. You know, it's not about uniforms or coups or anything like that, but it's about this sort of banal way in which it is institutionalized through contracts, settlements, and risk management. Unlike Amsterdam, it has a clear moral focus. There are character-driven stakes. There's no tonal confusion or sentimentality. And it's a movie that respects the audience's intelligence. It trusts the audience to connect the dots. I think it's an absolutely fantastic film. I think it's very powerful, and it has one of the coldest deaths I've ever seen in film history. People who have seen the film know what I'm talking about. So, have to recommend Michael Clayton.
It's a beautiful film.
And on that note, it's time to move over to our final segment of the podcast, rolling for next week's film. Mike, it's your turn to roll this week. I was unlucky enough to roll Amsterdam last time, so I hope you have better luck than I did. What are you hoping for?
Honestly, I'm going to change it up a little bit this week. I don't think that I could do Silver Linings Playbook.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to do two David O. Russells.
I think I'd like to take a week off. So this week, I am going to hope that we roll number 37, the 2011 film Limitless, because I think that would be a really funny thing to watch and do an episode about next week.
I would love to get Limitless. Oh, I would take some
right.
Limitless pills for that one.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
do it.
going for 37, baby. I am going to roll now. I came so close, but so far. I have rolled 39. 2012's Red Lights.
Never heard of
directed
it.
By who is this? Rodrigo Cortez. Never heard of this film before. Red Lights is a 2012 psychological supernatural thriller film written, directed, produced, and edited by Rodrigo Cortez and starring Cillian Murphy, Sigourney Weaver, Robert De Niro, Tony Jones, Jolie Richardson, and Elizabeth Olsen. The plot focuses on a physicist and a university psychology professor, both of whom specialize in debunking supernatural phenomena and their attempt at discrediting a renowned psychic, De Niro, whose greatest critic mysteriously died 30 years prior. Whew, I don't know. Is this supposed to be good?
No.
No. Mainly negative reviews. Well, it's not mentioned at the top, so I had to go down to the reception section. Mainly negative reviews for critics, 30 on Rotten Tomatoes. So there you go. We'll see you guys next week for Red Lights. I really wish we'd rolled Limitless, man. Can you imagine?
Dark times for the podcast. Amsterdam, Red Lights. I mean, listen, they can't all be Goodfellas or Heat, right?
At least it's only an hour and 54 minutes long.
Oh, that's beautiful. I mean, yeah, Amsterdam, we didn't mention at the top, is 2 hours and 15 minutes long, which also
they could have
worked to
shaved
its
20
detriment.
minutes off of that.
Definitely.
Easy. Yep.
Well, on that bombshell, it's time to wrap this episode up. I want to take this time to thank all the citizens of De Niro Nation who listen week in and week out to the podcast. You're our strongest soldiers. Shout out to Caroline for her wonderful podcast artwork that we continue to use to this day. Follow Mike and I on Letterboxd. I'm Mike back at you, and he's Mike the Fab. Email us at ourherodeniro@gmail.com with literally any thought that wanders into your head, and we'll react on air. Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please. We don't ask much from you. Can't you do that for
all
us?
I want.
Seriously. Yep. And find us on social media. It's easy. Just go to allmylinks.com/ourherodeniro, and you can find us on all sorts of platforms. And we'll be back at you next week with an episode about the 2012 bomb, Red Lights.
Was it 2012?
Yes.
Oh, it was. Yeah. Well, there you go. Bye, everyone.